Skull Viking fans and football fans, sports fans everywhere. I am the Buckster here on the Buck Stops here, and we are ready for some NFL playoff talk, a little bit of NCAA college football, and we're going to talk about some of the WWE events coming up and things going on with the WWE. So thank you for watching as always. Let me just demask myself here real quick, and can see my goofy face. How we doing? Happy New Year. I know it's not quite the new year yet, and I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and got everything they wanted. We are actually looking to get everything we want by getting our first round bye today when we beat the Chicago Bears at noon Central, 1 o'clock Eastern time. That game starts. Excuse me. It's kind of early here this morning, 9:30, and just getting my coffee going. I want to talk some NFL football. First of all, it's going into the playoff season, and things still aren't set in the AFC or the NFC. So I'm just going to run down what I've got going on here with that. You can check out my blog. It's on WordPress. I post it on Facebook and on my Twitter account. That's at Buck TBSH, which stands for the Buck Stops here. And you can check it out once a week. I've been trying to post. Hopefully it'll be a little more as I have a little more free time. I'll talk about anything sports. I'll do some research. If you want to ask me questions about hockey, you want to ask me questions about the NBA, although I'm not really into that this year because my Grizzlies are awful. I'll be glad to, blog about that. Just my opinions, how I feel, how I see things turning out. I'm not a sportscaster by any means, although I'd love to do that someday. But hey, you know what? I'm getting too old to change careers. Let's talk NFL. Let's talk some playoffs. Then we're going to hit the AFC first. If the Patriots win, they got home field throughout because they beat Pittsburgh head-to-head, and they'll have identical records. If Pittsburgh wins, that's just a no-brainer. So the Patriots and Pittsburgh both win. They're number 1 and number 2, respectively. Jacksonville and Kansas City already have number 3 and number 4 locked up no matter what they do. The only advantage for Jacksonville right now is if they beat the Titans in Tennessee today, they could knock the Titans out of the playoffs. If they don't, they may end up playing them a second time, depending on how the rest of this runs down. And I'm going to give you the easiest way to look at the scenarios, but you can also go to ESPN.com. I use ESPN for a lot of things. They're on top of the game. I mean, they are all sports all the time. But I go to ESPN.com. And if you go to the standings and hit playoff picture, it explains off to the right who wins the tiebreakers and how the scenarios break down. I'm going to try and keep you from having to do that. So just check out what I have to say. And hopefully, if you're a fan of one of the teams I'm talking about, your team gets in. So we're talking about the number 5 seed right now because, like I said, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are set. If New England somehow loses to the Jets, could happen, guys. I mean, I'm just saying that'd be great. And then Pittsburgh ends up winning, although I read somewhere just a little while ago that Pittsburgh's going to rest some starters. If you have a chance, even a slim, tiny chance to get home field advantage and make New England have to come to Pittsburgh, why would you even rest people? Go in. I know you're playing the Browns, but the Browns, even though they are 0-15, have played tough most of their games. So why would you even give them the opportunity to get their first win against you, division rival? Teams don't like each other. I wouldn't do it. I'm just telling you, I would not take that chance. You go into the playoffs with a loss to a crappy team, even if it was your second string. No. Play your guys, get the win put away, then bring in your second string when you know that you just got the game locked up. That being said, here's the scenario. So your top 4 teams are decided. You just don't know the seeding of 1 and 2. New England wins, they're 1. New England's probably going to beat the Jets, so they're going to be 1. Pittsburgh's going to be 2. Jacksonville's 3. KC's 4. Number 5. The way it sits right now, I believe has Tennessee at – no, I apologize. Has the Ravens at 5 because they have a 1 win more. They're 9-6 at the moment. The Titans are 8-7. The Chargers are 8-7, and the Bills are 8-7. The Ravens and the Titans win, they're in. Bam, plain and simple. There's your 5 and 6. In that order, Ravens, Titans. You a Buffalo fan? All right. This is where it gets really confusing, guys. So Buffalo needs some help. Buffalo needs to win, first of all, okay? Obviously, if they lose, they're done. They have to win. If Buffalo wins, they need the Titans and the Chargers. See, now I'm trying to read my notes because I simply just, there's so much going on, my brain can't handle it. So I'll tell you, the Titans and Ravens need to win. Titans own a tiebreaker over the Chargers and the Bills. The Ravens own the tiebreaker over the Chargers, and the Bills need a lot of help. So if you're a Bills fan, 2 of the 3 teams need to lose. If the Bills win and the Titans and Chargers lose, the Bills are in. Plain and simple. So really, the Bills need to beat the Dolphins. Jacksonville needs to beat the Titans, which that's possible, but I don't know if Jacksonville's playing for anything, so I don't know if their key players are going to start. And then, obviously, Cincy needs to beat Baltimore for Baltimore to be out. We'll come back to that. And the Chargers would need to lose to the Dolphins. I apologize. The Chargers would need to lose to the Raiders. So, that being said, the Bills need a lot of help. The only way Baltimore does not get in is if they lose and Buffalo and Tennessee both win. If one of those teams lose, the Ravens are in no matter what. So the Ravens could win or lose if Buffalo loses or if Tennessee loses. Chargers have a tough road as well. Chargers need a win, and again, are relying on both Buffalo and Tennessee to lose. So both Buffalo and Tennessee have to lose for the Chargers to get in. If they all win, then it doesn't matter because Titans take that 6th spot. Pretty much the Ravens are a lock unless everybody loses, unless they lose and everybody else wins. And then the Ravens could get bumped out of it. So, predictions. Just going to break this down real quick for you. Patriots win, they're the number 1 seed. That's going to happen. My predictions. Buffalo's going to win, or Pittsburgh's going to win, and they're the number 2 seed. Both New England and Buffalo get a first-round bye. Jacksonville loses but get the 3rd seed. And the reason they lose is they have nothing really to play for. They don't want anybody to get hurt. They're going into Tennessee. It's a tough place to play. Let Tennessee win. No big deal. Or, I mean, maybe your backups will. Yeah, I'm going to get to that. The Vikings will win the Super Bowl. But right now, Mega Pikachu, we are on AFC. You just ruined my predictions. But, yes, we will talk about that in just a few minutes. We're talking right now AFC predictions by the Buckster. Because Jacksonville's a lock, they don't care if they win or lose against Tennessee this week. So Tennessee's going to get in. KC, well, that doesn't really matter either because they're the number 4 lock. So their game is not relevant. I'm not even going to predict it. The Ravens are going to win and the Titans are going to win. Sorry, Buffalo fans. You got another year before your Super Bowl drought can end. Same thing with you, Charger fans. But both teams are improving and getting better. So from the view of the Buckster, Mr. Viking here, I tell you, next year both teams could be climbing. And I got some good stuff to predict for you down the road here. So let's talk a little NFC. All right, Mega Pikachu, here we go. The Eagles are automatically the number 1 seed, and this is why. And I was wondering this and had to look it up today. The Eagles and the Vikings, if the Eagles lose and the Vikings win this week, will have the same record. But because they both played Carolina and the Vikings lost and the Eagles beat them, the Eagles still get the number 1 seed. So there's no way to unseed them. Right now, the Eagles have home field throughout the playoffs. Minnesota with the win gets the number 2 seed and a first-round bye, and they will have home field except if they have to play Philadelphia. So Minnesota needs to beat Chicago, or they need the Saints to win. If the Saints win and the Vikings lose, it doesn't matter what Carolina does because the Saints will still win their division, and the Vikings beat the Saints head-to-head. So for the Vikings to lose their number 2 seed, they have to lose, the Saints have to lose, and Carolina has to win. There's a lot to go on there. So we're a 99% lock of that spot. Yes, we are going to beat the Bears. We're probably going to, first half, play Keenum. Second half, you may see this boy right here, Teddy Bridgewater, come in and get some reps in. Because I'm telling you right now, Teddy, we got to see if we're going to be able to keep him next year. And what else to do it than right now in this game? We have a quarterback problem at the end of the year, but that's a talk for the end of the season that we don't want to talk about right now because we are on a roll to the Super Bowl. The Rams are the number 3 seed. As long as they win. I don't think they can be de-seeded if they win, so the Rams would be number 3 if they win. The Saints would be number 4 if they win. Carolina's number 5 or better, depending on what happens with the other games. And yes, it's confusing. It's a mess. So we're just going to roll through this and tell you how people need to get in. Atlanta beats Carolina. They're in the playoffs. If Atlanta loses and Seattle wins against Arizona, Seattle's in. I'm pretty sure Seattle's going to beat Arizona. The Atlanta-Carolina game's intriguing. There's a lot at stake there. The Saints lose and the Panthers win. Panthers are number 3, and if the Vikings lose, Panthers go to number 2. Are y'all with me? I hope you are, because I'm as confused as I sound. Let's just get on to predictions. This is going to make it more fun. I'm going to tell you how this is all going to roll out. The Eagles are the number 1 seed, and the Minnesota's the number 2 seed. They get a first-round bye. That's what's going to happen after today. The Rams stop Garoppolo. The Niners are not going to beat the Rams. The Rams stay at number 3. The Saints are going to stay at number 4, and that's because they're going to win. There's no way I see them losing to Tampa Bay this week. Carolina beats Atlanta in Atlanta. Seattle beats the Cardinal and take the number 6 spot. Now, the reason that's a big prediction is that's going to mess up all of the playoffs, and it could actually work in the Vikings' favor. And this is what I'm hoping for, but this is what I see happening. Pete Carroll is not going to lose with an opportunity to go into the playoffs. He'll beat the Cardinals. Carolina's been playing really good lately, and I can see them sneaking in and beating Atlanta in Atlanta. And that would just change the whole playoff scenario. AFC playoff predictions by the Buckster. You hear it live, Week 17, Sunday, December 31st. You ready for this? The Titans are going to beat the Jags to advance. That's right. The Titans are going to win this week, and then next week they're going to go to Jacksonville, and they're going to beat Jacksonville. And Kansas City is going to go back to the form they were at the beginning of the year. Their players are going to be pretty well rested. They don't have anything to play for this week, so they're not going to play their starters. They're going to come in, and they're going to beat Baltimore in Baltimore. So you're going to have the Titans and the Chiefs advance. The Titans will go to New England. They're going to lose a close game. Why? Because for some reason the NFL just loves – we won't go into controversy. We're going to let it be. So the Titans will go in, and they're going to lose to New England. Upset alert. Kansas City is going to go into Pittsburgh, and they're going to beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh and knock them out of the playoffs. That's right. They will snap back to form and look great in the playoffs, and Pittsburgh's going to fall. I know they want to play New England. I know they want revenge for that non-dropped pass in the end zone. That was a horrible reversal. It was a touchdown. It was inconclusive if he dropped the ball. More controversy. We can talk about that another day. AFC Championship game. Here we go again. Upset alert. Kansas City, who went into New England week 1 and knocked New England down, is going to go into New England in the playoffs in the AFC Championship game, and they're going to knock them out of the playoffs. First game, New England loses. The last game, New England loses, both against Kansas City. You heard it live here first by the Buckster. Kansas City is going to be in Minneapolis for Super Bowl Sunday for Super Bowl 52. Now let's talk some NFC predictions. Now I'm a little biased, but I'm telling you from watching what I've seen and knowing what my team can do and watching these other teams play and what they can do, I'll give you my reasons for what's going on. Seattle's going to beat the Rams. Not that I want that to happen, but it's Pete Carroll. They're going to focus so hard on shutting down Todd Gurley in every way, shape, or form. Jared Goff is not going to be able to beat that Seattle defense another time. And unfortunately, the Rams are going to get knocked out in the first round. Ram fans, don't get mad. Don't get disappointed. I'm a big Ram fan, and I'm a huge Todd Gurley fan, as anybody who knows me will tell you. But Pete Carroll just has that way of figuring out how to slow down what he needs to, and Seattle will beat the Rams. And that's bad news for everybody. The Saints are going to beat the Panthers because they're playing in New Orleans, and I just don't see the Panthers going to New Orleans and winning. Seattle goes on to Philly, and New Orleans moves on to Minnesota. Now, these are some really intriguing matchups because Seattle is a cold weather team. They can go into Philly, and they actually have a chance of beating the Eagles. And with Nick Foles at quarterback, I see Seattle being able to go in there and just control this game, keep Foles on edge, and beat them by 3 to 4 points. It won't be huge. You're talking 27-24, 23-17. It's going to be a touchdown. But Seattle's going to win that game. New Orleans is not going to come into our house and beat us. New Orleans took us out in 2009 with the whole Brett Favre debacle when they went after him. They took cheap shots. They finally hurt him. We're not going to go into any more of that. And they went on to win the Super Bowl. And congratulations, New Orleans. That was awesome. That was your first Super Bowl. Drew Brees earned it. The team played well. The defense was opportunistic. They weren't a tough defense. But I'm telling you, you're going against the best defense in football. You were not going to beat the Vikings in Minnesota. So that brings us to the NFC Championship game. Viking fans, I know you're loving me right now for predicting this, but I mean, I'm not like, Jimmy the Greek or anything. I'm just the Buckster. Seattle goes into Minnesota with Blair Walsh on Seattle's team. Need I say more, Viking fans? Minnesota wins this game, wins it good. The defense shuts down Russell Wilson and that offense, who have no running game. And frankly, you can't run against us anyways. Minnesota wins. They don't have to leave Minnesota after this week. Well, I mean, last week was the last week they had to leave because they're going to be home this week. They're going to be off next week. Then they're going to be home for 2 weeks, off for a week, and play the Super Bowl in Minnesota, Super Bowl 52. Minnesota, KC, a rematch of Super Bowl 4, except the outcome will be different this time. The Minnesota Vikings are going to win the Super Bowl 31-17 over the Kansas City Chiefs. Bam, boom, pop. You heard it right here. I will update my predictions as I go as teams get bumped out. You may see me crying if the Vikings get beat, but I'll be here, and I'll still be pushing and giving new predictions. Those are my predictions. Final Super Bowl. Minnesota brings home the Lombardi Trophy with a 31-17 win over the Chiefs. That's all I got to say for now on the NFL playoff situation. I get some of my information, some of my stats from ESPN on ESPN. Yep, from ESPN.com. So feel free to go to ESPN and check out what I put down. They have some predictions going on. See how we compare. That's great. ESPN is a great place for all your sports needs. Let's talk NFL MVP. I don't want to hear this Tom Brady stuff, man. Tom Brady, he's having a good year. I mean, I got his stats right here in front of me. Brady's got 4,387 yards, 30 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. His passer rating is a 104.2, and he's completed 67.5% of his passes. So that is an MVP type of year. I'm going to give you my 5 candidates, and I will rank them. These are not in any order at the moment. You have Tom Brady, Carson Wentz, Todd Gurley, Case Keenum, and Drew Brees. My 5 candidates. Why Case Keenum? Because I wear the purple and gold. I'll give you better reasons when I get to it, because I think Case Keenum has a great argument for MVP, because MVP is not most stats in the league. That would be MSL, right? It is most valuable player, the player that is most valuable to his team to help them win. Todd Gurley, running back, Los Angeles Rams, from Georgia University, 1,305 rushing yards, leads the league. 13 TDs, leads the league. 4.7 yards per carry. He's top 3. 788 receiving yards. 6 touchdowns. Receiving. Totals, 2,093 yards from scrimmage. Nobody's close. 19 touchdowns, except for quarterbacks. Nobody's close. Why would you not vote Todd Gurley MVP? He's my #1 pick. Todd Gurley has everything he needs to be the most valuable player in this league. His team is winning because of him. I said they're going to lose because Seattle's going to shut him down. Todd Gurley, MVP, folks. If you get a vote, vote for this man. He deserves your vote. He deserves MVP. #2, little prejudice here. Case Keenum. And here's the case for Keenum. See what I did there? You see? Case Keenum stepped in as a backup quarterback. In week 2, he had to start, and they didn't know he was going to start right away. So when Case Keenum walked in to start, he had to play the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we got crushed. And us Viking fans are like, oh, my God, Bradford's knee, Case Keenum, Teddy's not back. What are we going to do? Case Keenum got a full week of practice underneath him and went on to win. And all Case Keenum has done is win football games for Minnesota. And if you watch him play, he avoids sacks. Now, he's taken a few more sacks late in the season than he had earlier. He does what Bradford cannot do. He gets away from the defenders. He ducks underneath them. He jukes them to the left. He spins off of them, and then he makes a pass, and it's not a stupid pass. This man has got 3,358 passing yards, 21 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. His passer rating is a 98.1, and he's completing 67.8% of his passes. That is ahead of Tom Brady. There's only one man ahead of him, and we'll get to that in a moment. The Vikings, last year, their offensive line struggled. This year, their line's better. They have a running game. But I think if you have a different quarterback back there, especially, I love Bradford. Again, anybody who knows me knows I've been a Bradford advocate since he came in the league. I keep saying if the man can stay healthy, he's elite. Like, he puts up numbers. He can dink and dunk you. He can burn you deep. He's accurate. But the problem is that knee. That knee he's had 2 surgeries on keeps causing him problems. But he can't get out of the pocket. He is a sitting duck. He is a Peyton Manning. And he's not even Tom Brady, because I've seen Brady run, even though Brady can't run. It's kind of funny watching him run, but Brady can get out of the pocket. So with Case Keenum back there, he makes plays happen. He looks like a younger Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, Green Bay fans, I'm telling you. So I think Case Keenum is my #2 pick for MVP. #3, Carson Wentz. But wait, he's hurt. He's on injured reserve. He's out for the season. Let's go back to what I said. Seattle's going to go in and put Nick Foles on his back. They're going to lay him down. He is not going to have a good game. Carson Wentz, he sees more of the field. Carson Wentz can get out of the pocket. Carson Wentz can make things happen. Carson Wentz is the reason the Eagles are going to end up 13-3 or 14-2 this year, because this man does nothing but win football games. He is a student of the game. He is smart. If you watch him play, he reads so fast and finds that open guy. It's hard to get to him. And unfortunately, he got taken out on a play where he ran into the end zone and scored a touchdown and got hit just the wrong way. So, hopefully Carson Wentz gets healthy and comes back. I'm not an anti-Eagles guy, but I'm just a total Vikings guy. But Carson Wentz being hurt really plays well for us, because we still have a shot to go straight to the Super Bowl and not have to leave Minnesota. Do I think we could have beat the Eagles in Philly? Maybe. But going to Philly, we're not a cold weather team. You'd think Minnesota we are, but we play in a dome, guys. Let's be real as Viking fans and as football fans. Dome teams don't usually do well outside of the domes, especially in the playoffs. That being said, I would say Carson Wentz is #3. #4, New Orleans Saints quarterback, Drew Brees. Drew Brees has done nothing but put up 4,089 yards. He's got 22 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. His passer rating is second among my 5 candidates, 4 quarterback candidates, at 103.6. And there's a stat that we started looking at, I did last year. Completions. He's completed 71.9% of his passes. The NFL record is 71.6. made by the aforementioned Sam Bradford last year in Minnesota. He's got to be in the MVP talk. And really, depending on how these guys play today, that's going to make a huge difference. Brady may not play. Breeze could easily put up 300 yards and a few touchdowns and up that passer rating and up that percentage. Now, I don't think he's going to get to 30 touchdown passes, but Carson Wentz has 33 touchdown passes to Brady's 30, and Wentz has been out for a week. So I still say Wentz is 3, Breeze is 4, and we'll put Tom Brady at 5. I'll leave him in the conversation because it's Tom Brady, and he's got good numbers. And I guess it's all New England has, really, is Tom Brady. Here's how you beat Brady. You put him on his back, knock him around, frustrate him. Brady gets frustrated. That's why he is not the greatest of all time, because I've watched Aaron Rodgers take shots and jump up and throw touchdown passes. I've watched Tom Brady get jacked up and get frustrated, and then they don't win. How do you think Kansas City beat him in week 1? So MVP, I would say Gurley, Keenum, Wentz, Breeze, and Brady. And again, I am biased to Keenum. I picked Keenum because I've watched him play. I've watched what he's done for our team. He may be in the conversation, and he may be ranked 5th. I've got him number 2. I think Gurley should win the MVP hands down. NFL talk. That's all we got for today. Check us out next week and see what more we've got going on. I would like now to talk a little bit about the college football playoffs. Those games are starting up tomorrow. You've got in the Rose Bowl, Georgia and Oklahoma. Oklahoma is like my Memphis Tigers were yesterday. They don't know how to play defense. Now, the Tigers lost 21-20. A lot of controversy in some of the interceptions that were called back or given away. Or we're not going to go into that. I'll be glad to at any point in time and tweet back and forth with you guys on how horrible the officiating was. I was there live, a nice cold day in Memphis. It was fun to watch. We lost. Not taking anything away from Iowa State University. Number 5, I don't know his name in Iowa State off the top of my head. Well, you know what? I guess being a good sportscaster that I want to be, I could just go to ESPN and I could check out where maybe he is at with this. So that's what I'm going to do real quick for everybody while I'm, trying to talk. And my thought process on this is this kid was phenomenal, and I should probably give him some credit where his credit is due. Because, again, I think he had like 10 catches for 400 yards. It was an amazing game. We just couldn't stop him. Our cornerbacks looked lost. They weren't – their coverage, one, they were shorter than these guys, but their coverage, they weren't turning for the ball when the ball was in the air. I know it's easy to say sitting in the stands, but you could see the receiver slow down and have to turn, and the cornerback just kept going. And every time they'd step up and make a catch and run 3 or 4 more yards. And it was just ridiculous. So we're going to go check out this young man's name because number 5 in Iowa State played an incredible game. And I'm telling you, we couldn't stop him. There was just no slowing this kid down. Right here, Iowa State. Lazard was phenomenal. This kid made this catch in the end zone that 2 other receivers and a defender could have got, and he came down with it. Watching it live, I thought he might have stepped out, but when you watch the replays, he was just perfect. Caught the ball both feet in. You only need 1 in college. So I think Lazard was the MVP of this game. He had 142 yards receiving, a touchdown with 10 receptions. Just phenomenal. I do want to say Riley Ferguson did a great job on the fact that his arm strength is phenomenal. When I was watching the Iowa State quarterback throw into the wind, the ball was a dead duck just flying. And when I watched Riley Ferguson, Iowa State. You must have misheard me there, Mega Pikachu. Riley Ferguson throwing the ball into the wind, and he's overthrown his receivers. So NFL teams, he may not be a first-round pick, but I think 3rd or 4th round, you pick up a Riley Ferguson, you got yourself a pretty darn good quarterback. Our championship games, you have to look at Georgia and Oklahoma. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, these two are just going to crush the Oklahoma defense. Now, I know Oklahoma has a Heisman-winning quarterback in Baker Mayfield, and he's going to be probably the first or second pick in the draft. Cleveland might go after another quarterback. Yay, Cleveland for your quarterbacks. Hey, let's just pick another one. And you know what? Next year you can pick another one because Cleveland's the home of the dead quarterbacks, apparently, and I don't mean that. Actually, I mean the quarterback goes to Cleveland and they just disappear. So I'm telling you that Georgia is going to take this game. They're going to beat Oklahoma. I like both teams, but I got to go with my Bulldogs. And they're going to go on to play Clemson in the championship game. And the reason I say Clemson is because I'm still stuck on a thing. Roll Tide, roll over. You've played nobody this year. What's a Mega Frokie? Hi, Mega Frokie. That must be Brandon. My boys are following me on yeah, like and subscribe to this man. Thanks, Mega Pikachu. I get sidetracked sometimes, you know. Oh, it's AJ. AJ's Mega Frokie. Well, hey, AJ, what's up? Anyways, I want to just tell you guys that Bama has not played anybody this year. They played Florida State at the beginning of the year, but Florida State really wasn't on their game. They were not they should have been ranked in the top 2. And then Bama played some scrubs and played some SEC teams, and they almost lost to Mississippi State, and they almost lost to Ole Miss, and they got beat by Auburn. I just don't think Bama this year is as good as they have been in years past. They're going to run into a Clemson team who everybody's like, well, there's no Deshaun Watson. Who are they? They only lost the game against Syracuse because their quarterback got knocked out in the game, and Syracuse took advantage of it. In Syracuse, in the Dome, loud, obnoxious. I've been there. Tough to win. Clemson, Georgia, championship. Bulldogs, going to take it. Prediction for college football. I know my podcast is going a little long today. This is our final podcast of 2017, and I just want to get enough information in there. WWE coming up next here at The Buck Stops Here. So listen up. If you like wrestling, that's going to be our next process. If you like wrestling, you can get all the pay-per-views whenever they're on for $9.99 a month. Now, I remember back in the day when I was a kid, I used to pay like $60 a year, $59.99. So Royal Rumble was $79.99 one year, and I would have to pay it on pay-per-view just to watch it. Now, with the WWE Network, you get any pay-per-view they run, which they have at least one a month, sometimes 2, depending on if both shows are doing separate pay-per-views, Raw and SmackDown. Your first month is free. So for that first month free, you're going to get the Royal Rumble coming up in January. I believe it is actually the week in between the Super Bowl. So there you go. Sign up today. Your first month's free. You get the Royal Rumble absolutely free. And you get the hours and hours and hours and hours of all the WWE previous events, different shows. Edge and Christian have a show on there. They have WWE Camp, which is all animated and it has real voices. They have Ride Along. There's so many other shows on there, and it shows old wrestling matches, old WrestleManias, old Royal Rumbles. You can get it all for $9.99 a month. There are hundreds of hours of different WWE clips and events that you can get for this $9.99. That is probably the best deal you'll find for anything anywhere on the internet. So check it out today. Go to WWE.com/network and sign up for free. Skol Vikes. Thank you. That being said, talk a little bit of Monday Night Raw. With Dean Ambrose out, how does that hurt the Shield? I don't know what direction they're going to be able to go. I don't know what they're going to do with Dean Ambrose hurt. He's going to be out for 8 to 9 months. He won't be back till probably August or September of next year. They can still play it and keep the Shield together, and they can have Seth and Roman do stuff together. But right now, Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan are your tag team champs. Now, I don't know where they're going with that. I like the idea, sort of, but they wanted Jordan to do singles. So what are we where are we going with this? We're just going to have to wait and see. I don't even have a thought process in that because that shocked me when I saw that. Roman and Samoa Joe. Apparently last night of the house show, Roman busted Joe open so bad they had to stop the match. I know they're going to have this Intercontinental title match probably at the Royal Rumble, and probably both guys will be in the Rumble as well. You know, sometimes they'll do that to have a match and then let the guy come back in and join the Rumble. I don't have predictions on the Royal Rumble as of yet. As we get closer to who's entering for sure, I'll get closer to my predictions. The big match coming up is going to be the triple threat match for the Universal title. Now, I don't know where Brock Lesnar's contract is. I know he does year to year or 2 years at a time, and I know it's coming up due. I don't know if they're going to continue to carry Brock with that. I know they're not going to give it to Kane. He's actually running for office in Tennessee. I'm not sure of the town or the county, but he's running for office there. So he's not going to stay in wrestling much longer. They may give him the Universal title and have him lose it to Braun Strowman. That's a thought I had. But I don't see that as a WrestleMania matchup. I see Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. So Brock may hold this just a little bit longer. You're going to have the Beast versus the Monster Among Men versus Kane. I mean, that's going to be a great match. That's going to be worth the free WWE Network in itself. I think I see Brock pulling this off. Again, as I see more coming on, I'll say, but I really think the Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar, WrestleMania, Braun Strowman gets his WrestleMania moment. He gets a Universal title. He is really swerved into being a babyface. Yeah, Beast versus Monster Among Men versus Kane. That's right. He's unbeatable almost. And you're going to have Big Cass coming back at some point, and he may be the only guy they're going to want to put in the ring and maybe have a nice battle going on with Braun Strowman for a while. We'll have to see how it plays out, but I say Brock Lesnar is going to hold out for now. Paige got injured at a house show last week. She is okay. I actually watched the video, and she took a kick from behind, and she landed wrong on her arm, and they stopped the match. But Paige is okay, and she'll continue to be causing some havoc on the Raw women's roster. Women's Royal Rumble with Paige healthy. I say it comes down to 3 women. If you're looking at the Raw side, it would be Nia Jax, Asuka, or Paige. And I'm saying that because I see that it just the way that's going to work out, I just see Paige being in the mix. But Nia Jax, who's going to throw her out of the ring? It's going to take everybody. They're going to have to gang up on her. And then Asuka, who's undefeated in singles matches, that would be a great match for Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania. And I think that's probably where they're going with this, is Asuka and Alexa Bliss, WrestleMania for the women's title, Raw women's title. SmackDown Live, I've done a lot of research. The Dolph Ziggler thing, he did not quit the WWE. It's a storyline. They're going to run this tournament. Somewhere along the way, Dolph's going to intervene. Hey, I never lost a title. You got a match going on for my title. Intervene me, triple threat. Dolph wins again, proves his point. I am better than everybody. Drags it on to WrestleMania, and him and Bobby Roode will battle for that United States Championship. So that's what I'm looking at. I think Bobby Roode and Jinder Mahal will be in that final. And again, Dolph Ziggler will come out and cause a stink and somehow insert himself to make it a triple threat and walk away with the belt. They're trying to keep Jinder relevant, but the storyline behind him is starting to die, and I'm not sure what they're going to do with Jinder. Talking about the WWE Championship and the champion AJ Styles, the phenomenal one. AJ and Kevin Owens right now are battling. I think on SmackDown this week you're going to have AJ versus Sami Zayn. So obviously Kevin Owens will be involved in that somehow. I see AJ holding on to that title until WrestleMania. Here's the thing. Several things could happen. You could have Cena win his 17th championship and pass Ric Flair. Cena's done more for wrestling than anybody ever. And I'm always back and forth on the Cena thing because he's getting stagnant in the ring. His mic skills are by far better than almost anybody in the WWE. I would say Enzo Amore and The Miz are right up there with him. But there's nobody that just has the whole package like Cena. But his moves are boring in the ring. He does the same things. You know when it's coming. You know what's going to happen. Randy Orton's got the RKO out of nowhere. And that's exciting because he could be getting beat down and bam, RKO you and you're done. The attitude adjustment, that's not out of nowhere. He sets it up. You know it's coming. Just like Roman Reigns' spear, you know it's coming. Although Roman's progressed with that, and he can spear out of nowhere now. He can bounce off her open. So Cena just seems to not progress. And Cena doesn't need to. He's John Cena. But in the ring, it's not as exciting. So I don't know if you would let him headline WrestleMania against AJ Styles for that belt. That being said, right now I see Kevin Owens and AJ Styles battling for the WWE Championship. They're great in the ring together. I just don't know if they're ready to give Owens the belt with the way they're running the storyline, or if McMahon's going to intervene. We have to wait to see on that. Your new tag champions probably going to happen at Royal Rumble. Your SmackDown tag team champions are going to be Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable as the heels. They're playing good heels. They've got good attitude. They're great in the ring. They work great together. And I just see them taking the Usos belts for now. The Usos have so much riding on their backs. They are so popular. They're so good. They couldn't even leave them heels because people still loved them coming out. So they slowly turned them back to faces. Or as my boys say, cheers and boos. And then I got a heel and a face turn coming here. I know we talked about this before. Rusev Day. What is going on with that? People love it. They're just totally ecstatic over Rusev Day. Rusev coming out. And, I mean, I'm not sold on Aiden English, but, you know, it is what it is. People love Rusev. And it's just they're getting behind him more and more. And I like that because Rusev's really good in the ring. He's a great wrestler. He's got strength. He's got charisma. And they've just always let him climb up and beat him back down. They let him climb up and beat him back down. And I really think it's time to face turn this guy. And maybe you have your tag belt championship come up a Rusev Day versus Benjamin and Gable at WrestleMania. Got a long time before that coming, but I'm just kind of playing this out. So if Rusev turns face, of course, Aiden English will turn with him because right now they're a tag team. Someone's got to turn heel. And you think you've already seen it starting. Randy Orton is going to go back to being a heel. He's a better heel than he is a face. People love him either way. He can still use the RK out of nowhere. He can become vicious again. And he may be the one that ends up going against AJ Styles for the championship at WrestleMania. But he made a comment that I've been doing everything for everybody else and nothing for myself. That's a heel talking right there. That is not a face. A face is going to be like, I came out and I helped my buddy. And Shinsuke jumped in and helped me. And I'm helping out Shane McMahon. And that's what I do. But Orton was, I've been thinking and helping everybody but myself. And that's going to change. So you're going to see Randy Orton turn back to a heel and maybe win another championship. Women's side, SmackDown, Royal Rumble. I see Sasha Banks. I mean, she's always in there. Charlotte's got the belt right now. So Charlotte doesn't have the belt. She may be one of them. And then Sarah Logan. Because I think Sarah Logan and Charlotte would be a great match in the ring one-on-one. I wasn't real impressed with Sarah Logan at first, but she's a bigger, and I mean bigger by she's stronger than most of the women. And she actually can wrestle. I don't know about her mic skills because right now Ruby Riot's doing most of the talking in the Riot Squad. But I would keep an eye on the whole Sarah Logan thing. They may have her and Charlotte go head-to-head here soon, and I think that would be very interesting. So that is the Buck Stops here today. I know it was a little bit longer of a show, longer than I normally run. I see there's still somebody on here talking Skull Vikings. You can go back and look at the beginning of my podcast. I did do my Super Bowl predictions. I did have the Eagles getting bumped off by Seattle. Seattle coming into Minnesota and losing. We're not leaving home from here on out. And the Super Bowl prediction I made was a rematch of Super Bowl IV. Minnesota, Kansas City. The difference is Vikings win 31-17. Soup, sir, I recapped that just for you. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. And you can follow me on Twitter at Buck TBSH, and that stands for The Buck Stops Here. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you.